Good morning. My name is Rachel, and I work in Operation Christmas Child. So how many of you guys are participating in a vacation Bible school this month or involved in one in your church? Okay. Well, our church is doing VBS this week, and I thought it would be fun today if we got in VBS mode. And I thought we could, David Thompson talked yesterday about the greatest journey and all the great numbers and stats and great things that are happening there. And I thought we could do a greatest journey lesson this morning. So I want us to look at lesson 7, which is called David, the Boy Who Trusted God. So I'm going to read the story of David and Goliath as it's presented in the TGJ lesson. So David arrived at the camp just as the Israelite army was leaving for the battlefield. Israel and the Philistines were lining up their armies for the battle. The armies were facing each other. David hurried out to the ranks to greet his brothers. As David was talking with them, Goliath stepped forward from his line. Goliath was a mighty Philistine hero from Gath. He again dared someone to fight him, and David heard it. When Israel's army saw Goliath, all of them ran away from him. That's because they were filled with fear. The men of Israel had been saying, "Just look at how this man keeps stepping forward." Again and again he dares Israel to fight him. The king will make the man who kills him very wealthy. David said to the soldiers standing nearby, "He dares the armies of the living God to fight him? Who does he think he is?" Someone heard what David said and reported it to Saul. So Saul sent for him. David said to Saul, "Don't let anyone lose hope because of that Philistine. I'll go out and fight him." Saul replied, "You aren't able to go out there and fight that Philistine. You are too young. He's been fighting man ever since he was a boy." But David said to Saul, "I've been taking care of my father's sheep. The Lord saved me from the paw of a lion. He saved me from the paw of a bear. And he'll save me from the powerful hand of this Philistine too." Saul said to David, "Go, and may the Lord be with you." So then Saul dressed David in his own military clothes. He put a coat of armor on him. He put a bronze helmet on his head. "I can't go out there in all this armor," he said to Saul. "I'm not used to it." So he took it off. Then David picked up his wooden staff. He went down to a stream and chose 5 smooth stones. He put them in the pocket of his shepherd's bag. And then he took the sling in his hand and approached Goliath. Goliath walked out toward David. "Come over here," he said. "I'll feed you to the body of the birds in the air. I'll feed it to the wild animals." David said to Goliath, "You are coming to fight against me with a sword and a spear and a javelin, but I'm coming against you in the name of the Lord, who rules over all. He is the God of the armies of Israel. He's the one you have dared to fight against. This very day the Lord will hand you over to me. Then the whole world will know there is a God in Israel. The Lord doesn't save by using a sword or a spear, and everyone who is here will know it. The battle belongs to the Lord. He will hand all of you over to us." As the Philistines moved closer to attack him, David ran quickly to the battle line to meet him. He reached into his bag. He took out a stone. He put it in his sling, and he slung it at Goliath. The stone hit him on the forehead and sank into it. Goliath fell to the ground on his face. So David won the fight against Goliath with a sling and a stone. So just thinking about David, just what confidence this little boy had and what pure faith he had. He believed, he trusted God, and he and those around him got to see a miracle. And so we face our own giants in life. And so to illustrate this, we've asked some little friends of the ministry to help us with a video that I want to share with you this morning.
They're big and tall. They have more than 3 eyes. Well, I think they're extinct. They're tall guys and they're mean. Probably about 50 feet. Hairy and they've got 1 eye. Giants are scary.
They're gonna eat everybody.
Wah! V-5-4. Hey, row.
me some money.
Hi, Giant. I'll say, I love you. I would use a lightsaber.
Watch out, Giant. Get a rock. Throw it.
He would throw what? Rock, and it would make him fall down.
So, what do you do when you face life's giants? This lesson teaches children to trust God. So, the scripture Proverbs 3:5-6 says to trust the Lord with all your heart and to lean not into your own understanding, but in all ways remember Him, and He will make your path straight. This lesson shares that trusting God means knowing that He is in charge of everything that happens in our lives and in the world. Sometimes we forget that God knows much more than we do, and He knows what happened in the past, what's going to happen now, and what's going to happen in the future. So knowing this gives us hope, and you can trust God with your whole life. And so last night in our VBS class, we were talking about when we trust God, maybe some miracles that we've seen that we may not have recognized. And it was so fun to hear the kids talk about instances where they saw God's hand and where they trusted God. And so the TGJ lesson, it asked the kids to pick up 5 stones and write on it an instance where they could trust God. And then they have a little exercise where the kids throw the stone away and release it to God. And so in sharing with the kids, I always love telling them the really fun OCC stories, stories with the shoeboxes. And so I was telling them about a time where I trusted God and I got to see a miracle. So my very first shoebox distribution, I went to Panama, and I was on a team. I wasn't leading the team, and I was there just to be a part of it. And we were at a distribution, and there were a lot of kids there, and we had the boxes. And, we carton the boxes, and we don't necessarily write the number of boxes in every carton. And so, I'm looking, and I'm seeing the kids, looking at the cartons, and wondering, do we have enough boxes? So we start handing out the boxes, and I start doing the math in my head and counting over here, and I began to get really anxious. And I just thought, what are we going to do? We're going to run out of boxes. And so someone went on the bus, and there were some extra boxes, and they brought them out. But still, it wasn't adding up. It looked like we were going to be short a box. And I was just completely fretting. I just thought this was the worst thing ever. There's going to be a child not get a box. And so our team leader, just like, let's not worry about it. God's going to provide, just so calm and so collected, and just had this pure faith. And so sure enough, we handed out all the boxes, and we were one short. So a person on our team said, I think, let's go look on the bus. I think there might be something else. Surely we can pull something together to give this child. Well, they went back on the bus, and there was this soccer ball, a deflated soccer ball with a pump that just seemed to appear. And we gave it to this little boy, and you would have thought he got the best shoebox there. I mean, in Panama, soccer is a huge sport, and you could see all the other kids just, whoa, he got the soccer ball. And right there I learned, okay, I've got to trust God, and I've got to have this faith. He provided in this instance. So just a few months ago, I was in Ecuador leading a team, and I got the opportunity to, my faith was tested in this way. And so before we do the distributions, we were bringing partners down, and we go meet with the church just to make sure, they've been through the training and they understand how many boxes they have and how many kids are invited, and that they try to keep a controlled environment so we don't run out of the boxes. And so I had been through all that, and I felt good about everything. Well, we arrived, and it was raining outside. The kids were out of school. They were celebrating Carnival. Of course, the Americans are coming up on the bus. Everyone's curious. Well, the kids are inside, and the door is wide open, and the pastor just keeps letting kids in. And they keep coming, and they keep coming, and the temptation was so there to just, oh, no, what are we going to do? We're going to run out of boxes. And, I have my team there. I have the vice president of American Family Radio and someone from the Parable Group, a big partner, and just all these major partners, and I just did not want them to see us run out of boxes. So we go in, And you can tell right away. I knew that we had planned for 150 kids, and there were about 300 there. And so everybody on the team is just like, we're going to run out of boxes. What are we going to do? And so, I was faced with that moment. What am I going to do? I'm leading this team. And remember what happened in Panama and how you didn't trust. And so I told them, I said, we're going to trust God. And we're just going to watch what happens. And so they began working on pumping up extra balloon animals. And I don't know, God just gave me this peace. And when it got right down to it, the boxes just kept multiplying. And we had enough boxes for every child there but 2. And so for those 2, everybody just dug in their backpacks, and we pulled out so much stuff that we could have probably made 5 more boxes. And so we were able to make enough boxes for those last 2 kids. And so I know that if I had been here in America in the same situation, I probably would have ran to Walmart and bought something. I would have robbed myself the joy of trusting God and robbed the people around me to experience a miracle, because I just think in this country it's just so much easier. We rely on our abilities. We rely on our money. I rely on my husband. I rely on a meeting where we're coming up with a solution for something here at work. And I rarely just have that pure faith that David had. And often that's a last resort. After I've done all the things that I think I can do in my own power, then I begin having that pure faith. And so it's just a great lesson here in TGJ. And I just think about the millions of kids that have gone through this and that are going to go through it. And I think about wonder what those kids wrote on their stone that they're going to trust God with. And is it for safety? Is it for their next meal? Is it for improved health of a loved one? Is it trusting God for a family? And I think about just the power in this lesson and how David's faith and how he exercised it could encourage these kids. And I bet they have seen so many miracles already, and they're going to see many more because of that pure faith. So I just encourage you all today. We're very blessed with so much here, and all of you in this room are blessed with many gifts and abilities. And just encourage you that next time you're faced with a situation, to exercise that pure faith. And so to wrap up our VBS lesson today, I want us to all recite today's memory verse. Okay? So let's all say together, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. In all your ways, remember him. Then he will make your paths smooth and straight. Proverbs 3:5-6. So thank you guys, and we can have